Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 93. I'm your host, Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we got my great co-hosts, Andrew Quinn and Daniel Miguel. You guys are phenomenal, I gotta say. And
Stop it.
gotta love it. But we are on the road to 100. Yes, geez, we've been blazing through these. I mean, whew. But how about them Celtics, you guys? I mean, we're coming off a high from last night, getting the win against the Thunder. I mean, today it feels like, things can't be greater. I mean, opening day's on right now. Red Sox up 1-0 right now. We'll keep you guys updated, I guess, throughout the podcast, but it's like after this podcast is posted anyways, everyone will know the final score, but we're going it's like a watch along even. But in addition to that, big win for the Celtics. And how are you guys feeling about the Celtics as of recently? You guys know the drill. You lose that one to Minnesota, the Timberwolves, no Ant, but you also got a very productive win in there against the Thunder as well. But then, a little shaky in there, but you finished the series off with a phenomenal win. But what are your guys' initial thoughts? We'll start off with you, Andrew, and go to Daniel.
Yeah, I think this team is at a really, really good spot. You just got back Jason Tatum, your potential Hall of Famer, in my opinion, already. Could have a statue outside of Boston. I mean, he's that type of player. And he's slowly but surely coming into his own. We talked about it on the recap last night. I mean, Jason Tatum, every single game is slightly progressing, making strides. He just won his first CNR MVP last night. And if I'm being honest, I think the CNR MVP is turning into a little, oh wow, he's improving, right? The more he gets, the more he is going to actually be better. So they should start using us kind of like the S&P 500 invested in stocks and Tatum. So I think that's what we should do. But anyways, I think Tatum, man, at a great spot right now, and just having him on the floor, as I talk about all the time, that spacing that has now opened up for us is insane. Because if you go, I mean, first of all, you can't go off of Tatum, right? And if last night, I don't know if you saw it, there was a couple possessions, I mean, majority of the game, when Oklahoma City Thunder was loading the side where Brown was. I mean, 5 eyes on Jaylen Brown at all times, just hawking him and losing sight of other players on the court. I mean, we talked about it. Jason Tatum had that crazy skip pass across the court. Jaylen Brown knocked down the shot. Not only a great pass, but a huge three, to be honest, at the time of the game. So this team is just hitting their stride at the right time, and having Tatum on this squad is just it's elevating them to a level that we potentially didn't even see this season. And then one more thing, having Tatum and Brown at the same time, we've known this, but they're a dual threat. And if you try to double Tatum, all right, Brown, take it. Let's go. And now I got a one-on-one matchup. No, you're going to double Brown? All right, Tatum, go do your thing. You can play these mini games within the offense that we love to do when you have two of these players on your roster. I mean, there's so many more options for the Celtics team, and it's a really, really fun team to watch. And the league honestly should watch out. And I'm not just saying as a biased fan, but I think everything is kind of culminating to a really successful team because of what has transpired, of what the Celtics have gone through, of what the haters have said. It's like this perfect storm. And I think for me, that's where the Celtics team is dangerous.
I agree. The dual threat complex has never really left this duo ever since they started together. We're talking 6-7 years ago. If David was in here,
come on, man.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
One podcast. David's not here.
I'm sorry. I don't know ball knowledge from
one podcast. God damn it.
But yeah, I don't know exactly when they started playing together, but since then, there's been this dual threat complex within these two guys, because you have two guys that can both score it well. They're both incredible defensively. They can both rebound, and as of recent times, they can both assist the ball as well. They've both been nearing triple doubles for some time now, especially Jalen Brown for most of the season. And it's as an opposing team, if I'm the coach or if I'm one of the players, it's such a tough decision. The decision, who do I guard? Who do I go on? If Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are both open on the wing, or who do you go for? Who are you guarding? It's impossible to guard any of them, because you go to one, the other one's open, and even if you go, let's say Tatum is the ball, you go to Tatum, he's still gonna find ways to cook you. You go to Jalen Brown, he's just gonna shove you off and go to the paint and get his two, or find some space and get a three. So these are two. We're blessed to have them part of the program, and we're blessed that these two guys are the faces of our franchise, for the new future, and have been the faces of our franchise. So this is a massive shout out to Brad Stevens, and the legend that he is, and what he's done for the Celtics organization in the past 10 years or so, because he set us up for a very very successful decade, or two, and it's really been fun being a Celtics fan during this time. So yeah, onto this past week and a half, going 4-1 on the week is amazing. You fall to that Wolves team. You just think, if we didn't take our foot off the gas in that third or fourth quarter, and then we'd be 5-0, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a loss to OKC. I think is the team that I was expecting to lose by, and we'd be 4-1. But we end up beating OKC, and then our loss comes from that Wolves game. But either way, still a good homestand, still a good record to go by in the past 5 games, and we are. I said it at the end of the last pod. I really want us to go on a streak. It would just be the best feeling to just not lose anymore. Just lose, I guess, one game in our next 10, to wrap up the season. 9-1 would be fantastic in my opinion. Even 8-2, I guess. I'd be okay with 8-2. But I think we need a strong finishing from the boys. We need a strong show out in this past few games to kind of just. I mean, we've already proved to the league that we're still a top team, but just to emphasize that, and to just remind them that we're ready for the playoffs, and throw any team at us, and we'll battle. Throw any team at us, and we're going to battle, and we're going to fight.
Yeah, no, well said, you guys. And I want to go in here and let's mention this. I'm changing it up a little bit. We're going to talk about this really quick, because you mentioned Brad Stevens, and we'll keep it the same route. Brad Stevens turns down a UNC coaching offer. And I know Andrew going, "Ooh, thank God." I know, I agree, because dump truck Brad right here. I mean,
He'd be dumping him, or actually, he'd be dumping us.
yeah,
right?
he'd be dumping
He'd be
us.
breaking up with us.
You can't get rid of that guy. And I want to almost say, you guys, I want to say, what is a better opportunity? Do you think, obviously Brad Stevens is known for his coaching. I mean, he's a GM for the Celtics, but he's been a phenomenal coach. I mean, college coach, and he had some really good years with the Celtics. But he's the GM of the Celtics, and like, he makes the moves and stuff. I don't know. If I'm Brad Stevens, I made the right decision because he turned it down. So we're happy about that. But again, I feel like that's like kind of getting lower. You guys agree? Don't you guys agree though, a little bit? Because you're the GM, you're like making all the moves and stuff. That's a huge honor.
Yeah.
And he stepped down as Celtics head coach for that. Like, you would think, like, I don't know, like, obviously D1 college, March Madness, like, you're on a huge stage. That's a great opportunity. But he was the Celtics head coach. And it's like, if he stepped down from that and moved up to be GM, then I don't think he's taking this offer anyways. Like, I don't know. What do you guys have to say about it, though?
Well, I think there is certainly a difference in GM and in coaching, and I know both of you know that. I'm not explaining it to you like you don't know, but being a coach, you're a lot more in it, right? Like you got that energy. There's a lot more on the line. You feel that adrenaline a little more. A lot more falls on your shoulders in that very, very moment in the game. And it's as close as you can get to ever playing the game of basketball again, right? Like me personally, I'm gonna coach at some point. I know for a fact, because even playing a men's league to me is just not the same as being in that real competitive environment where your adrenaline is going and you got to make decisions right away and you got to lead your team to victory. Like that's kind of the difference in my opinion. And then being a GM is there's still adrenaline, right? Like I mean, these deals that he's making, I mean, we look at Nico Harrison, right? Like you could fall flat in your face and there's no hate towards him. I'm just saying the realities of being a GM, like that's also dangerous and that also is sketchy. So I mean, no matter what job you're choosing, you like adrenaline, right? But I think Brad Stevens, to me, dude's found his flow state. Like you left coaching, right? And you were a great coach, but you're a better GM. I mean, you're one of the best GMs in the entire league. I mean, it's you, Danny Ainge, and Presti. Right? I mean, you are the best GM in the league, and it's shown throughout this time. And you've already won a championship in your short stint.
Boom, boom, right there.
I think leaving would mess up your whole rhythm. Would you got a family here, like you're excited, you're just like, to me, it just seems very natural for Brad Stevens in this position. And I just think you'd be a fool to throw it away and leave. I mean, I think we're always chasing something and we always forget the moment we're in. And if Brad Stevens is in a moment, and I think he recognizes it, and I think that's why he declined it.
Yeah, I said it just 2 minutes ago, just talking about Brad Stevens and the amazing work he's done as a Celtics GM. As exciting as it would be to coach a team and like you said, Andrew, coach them to victory, try to get that win and try to get that national championship trophy. Just I don't think it matches to the work he's already put into the Celtics and the work like that he sees, like the place where he sees this team in the future. That just I don't think I don't think I ever saw him do that. I would have never seen him. I don't think it was even a thought for him, honestly. I think he just found out about it. Maybe took some time to talk with the family about it, and just they probably all came to a consensus that there's no point in doing this. You don't leave an organization like the Celtics where you've already put your whole life into it as a coach and as a GM to go coach college basketball. No respect to college basketball, but if it was any other team, I feel like, and if it was a shorter tenure, maybe you would consider it more. But you've been part of the Celtics organization for half of your life or your whole life or so, and so it just wouldn't make sense to just flip it all around to go coach a college basketball team that is honestly falling apart at the moment. But I would not see that happening at all, and I'm glad he declined the call.
Time out. I gotta say that's going on CNR extras right there. Just in the middle of the take, we switched to the 4-man and
Andrew's
What happened?
Why are you guys laughing?
I missed it.
Daniel was in the middle of it, and Andrew's just pushing his sheets to the side of the bed. Oh, gotta love it. Tommy, we're talking about Brad Stevens turning down UNC offer. What are your thoughts on this?
Considering kind of how Brad Stevens has ranked up within the Celtics organization and the success he's had as the general manager, I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer. Dealing with college athletes, especially with all of this NIL nowadays, and a lot of college players going in and out of that transfer portal every single year. I mean, I guess you can say it is similar to how the NBA works, but just the structure of the game is totally different. And I think Brad Stevens has set himself and this organization up for success. And I feel like, first of all, as Celtics fans, it's hard to replicate and get another GM to do what Brad Stevens has done for this team, to be as consistent as they have been for the past 4 to 5 years. It says a lot about the work that he's done, especially when we thought this was going to be kind of a gap year. And to see, the players that he's drafted, the way that they develop them in Maine or when they're up with the Celtics. So it's kind of, as a fan, for me, it seems like it's a no-brainer for Brad Stevens to stay, the general manager for the Celtics and kind of make all of the decisions. And like, what good does it do him to go back to being a head coach at North Carolina? He gets more criticism and doesn't get as much say in what goes on at a lower-ranked program than the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
So it seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, you basically just, that last sentence, that's all we need to say.
Yeah.
Lower rank.
Yeah, really. Honestly, just like think of it as as Tom Brady. He just opened up recently and said in an interview that like his playing days are over. Like he's done with like playing. He's been rumored to like come back and stuff like that, but he said that it's just not happening. So think of it as like him, like the GM of the Raiders, just coming back and playing, or like being offered to come back and play. Like honestly, I'm sure he'd love the opportunity, but like for him, I'm pretty sure it just feels like you're done with that part of your life. Now you're on to being a GM of the Raiders and leading them to better years. It's kind of like a similar situation to Brad. Like I feel like his coaching years are done, and I feel like he feels the same way. He does have the experience, but like again, I just feel like he's kind of put those years behind him and just focused on being one of the best GMs in the league. Like you said, Andrew, and I'm pretty sure he gets much more satisfaction from that than from being a head coach at a declining organization recently, like UNC.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a no-brainer.
Me and Tommy. Our coach that we had, Coach Richards. He has opportunities, right? But he understands. He's got family around. Like he's living in South Portland, Maine. Like he loves where he's at, and I think sometimes that fancy title or that new job, that change of pace, maybe you do get a little green goblin mask, right? As Tom Brady has, right? But you still want to stay in a good spot. This is your family are growing up here. The one post Brad Stevens has on his Instagram is of him and his family with a trophy smiling, right? Like it's created memories for him. And I think throwing that behind him would be dumb. One more thing I will say. I think if Brad Stevens went to UNC, it would work better though than Bill Belichick, because he wouldn't have a girlfriend pulling out.
Well, this is what I have to say too. Brad Stevens is 49 years old. He's young still. Like, he's almost at the halfway century mark of his life. I don't think this means he's turning down coaching forever. I'm sure Brad Stevens at some point will go back into coaching. I don't think that's a closed door, but a lot of the times once you're a GM, you kind of stay in that category. You don't really mess with that. You even move up in the ranks, maybe. GM is pretty much top dog though. But Brad Stevens, he might get that someday, but right now he loves what he has with the Celtics, and that's why he turned it down, didn't entertain that. And, we saw a similar thing last year with Sam Cassell turning down the offer from the Gators, right? Or is he going? No, yeah, he turned that down last year to stay. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
On the staff.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know if it was a couple years out of, but yeah, he turned that down to stay with the Celtics. So,
it's just, we I don't want to keep going back to this, but we, top down, you look at how they treat the main side. They treat everyone the same, right? But this organization, people just want to be a part of. Like you want to be in this. This is a winning program, and Brad Stevens is a winner, and you want to stay here. Like, why would you want to leave the Celtics? It's unless you want to go get money and guarantee, right? Like that you're gonna set yourself up for success. But we got plenty of money for Brad Stevens.
No, and this is where I'm ready to change it, because I got to tell you guys about the Jordan Walsh DMPs, because this correlates, the other night we were talking on the recap about, and it's kind of shifting to a coaching aspect with Joe Mazzulla, because I want to ask you guys this question. what do you guys think it is with Jordan Walsh and the matchups? Because Daniel, you said this the other night, this is supposed to be a developmental year, and obviously now the Celtics are in a different mindset. This could be a championship year. But they're still giving guys DMPs like Jordan Walsh. You move on from Chris Boucher, you move on from Tillman, you move on from Minot, which again, the Minot one's a little shaky because now he's doing good in Brooklyn. But you move on from these guys and you're like, all right, that solves the DNP problem, right? Wrong, because now you're giving guys like Jordan Walsh DMPs. Obviously, I think Charles Bassey's another guy we got to credit. I know it's only a 10-day contract, but this is a guy that could be productful as well. Ron Harper Jr. What do you guys think about this? Because again, I thought Jordan, this is the thing, and you see him do it with Garza sometimes too. Because the last game that Walsh played good minutes against was OKC. Him and Ron Harper Jr. both played good minutes. Not this matchup, the previous matchup against OKC. And they played really good minutes in there. And then the next game, DNP. What do you guys think is up with that? Because they're playing good minutes, and then after they get a DNP. And Walsh has not been playing at all. But we'll start off with you, Andrew.
I mean, number 0 is back. Jason Tatum has returned, and he's a guy that's going to take up minutes from all these other guys. And it's only going to he's only going to take up more minutes as the season progresses and as we get to playoffs, right? So there's going to be guys that are not getting minutes. I will also say this is coming with the territory. We're nearing towards the playoffs, and I've talked about this on numerous occasions. Your rotation is going to get shorter because you want to have some semblance of order and familiarity come playoff time that you can rely on and go back to time in and time again. And I just think there have been guys that have been a little more consistent than say a guy like Jordan Walsh and say a guy like Ron Harper Jr. I mean, I would love to see them get minutes. Don't get me wrong, but just right now, where we're at in this season, I think you want to start leaning on cut the rotation down just a little where you find a little more consistency where guys know exactly what they're expected of, so then they can go out and perform. And I think Shireman has just inserted himself in a much better role. He's kind of separated himself from the pack. And Hugo, I mean, you could probably talk about Hugo and maybe Walsh and Ron Harper Jr. in that equation, but to me, it's just kind of the way the season goes and the way it's trending right now at the moment.
Quinn hit, multiple points that I was going to say. The biggest reason is definitely for Tatum being back in the lineup. Griffin, you brought up that Thunder game, and pretty much the only reason we saw Ron Harper Jr. and Walsh get as many minutes as they did is because Derek White and Tatum were out that game. That just kind of comes with the game and the point of the season where the Celtics are at right now, playoffs being right around the corner. That rotation is going to have to get, limited. It's going to be 8-9 guys at most. And, the main reason that we're seeing Garza getting consistent minutes right now is because Vucevic has been out with that fractured finger or hand. And then when Vuce comes back, hopefully right before playoffs, I think, we'll see Garza start to get a lot of DMPs throughout the playoffs. But it has to do with, the rotation and who they think fits best to be those kind of 7, 8, 9 guys. And it seems like those guys are Shireman, Hugo, and Garza for now. I think Quinn was right about, you could have a debate about, it being Hugo or Jordan Walsh. And in my opinion, I do think Walsh kind of brings more defensively and rebounding because of his length and athleticism. Not that Hugo isn't. But, we're not at practice every day. We don't see the behind the scenes of kind of why Mazzulla has been going with Hugo more consistently over the past few months. So this kind of comes with the nature of, having a superstar come back into the rotation on top of playoffs being right around the corner. It's disappointing because Jordan Walsh had that 1 month or 2 month stretch where he was in that starting lineup looking really solid, thinking, this guy's going to be a part of the rotation for years to come. And here we are 2 months later and he's not playing again. So I definitely think it's tough for him mentally because of where he was at a few months ago. But, he was going to have to earn those minutes over Hugo or Baylor. Me and Quinny both owe Baylor Sharman an apology for how far he's
I
come
gave
this
mine last
season
night. I gave mine last night.
because
I did
he's
too.
been, the green thumb, bonfire Baylor, whatever graphic you want to pull up. He has been everything you want and more. There it is. I mean, or Daniel, I'll let you go in a minute, but the way Shireman has progressed this year, I mean, has shocked me. You know, every game I watch him play, he impresses me. His work, the way he crashes the glass, the way he defends, picks up the best player now.
Smart.
Starting SJ last night, making life hard for the best offensive player in the league. So, you know, Shireman deserves his flowers, deserves to be in the rotation. And, you know, we have a good team with a lot of young talent, and this is kind of a conversation we're lucky to be having.
I'm sorry again. I'll say it again. Say it all season.
Yeah. And Griffin, thank you for accepting our apology last night.
Yeah.
Baylor Sharman.
Exactly, because I am the biggest, and
You're a little too, right? You got a little
we're gonna have to find that podcast from early in the year because me and Quinny were
we laid into him.
Hang on,
we were like, he has no ceiling, he can't defend, he can't really make shots.
I don't think he's athletic.
You know,
meanwhile, he got a putback.
We all agreed, though.
Not even close to that. So
we all agreed last night, though. I'm the biggest Shireman fan on this team. Like, look at this. Hold on. I gotta show you. This was last year. Like, do you guys see? Like, I'm telling you, the mustache.
Now he's got the mullet. How do you guys feel about the mullet? Let's talk. Can we talk about the mullet?
He's always got some messy hair. I'm not gonna lie.
I have the buzz cut and he gets the buzz cut, we're like twins.
Look related.
Yeah, you guys look like brothers. So maybe you got a little bias, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But dude, no, dead serious. Like, wow, Shireman, and I want to say this. I said it last night, but like, I will say when he was on Creighton, like he did have that kind of like edge to him, right? Where he was just kind of he thought he was that guy. He just knew it about himself. He had that kind of swagger, almost like I'm pissed off watching this type of player, and I wouldn't be surprised if other guys watch him too, because he's this white dude. Maybe he doesn't look as athletic, but then he comes out and just like dominates and kind of cooks you. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but for my opinion, do you have anything else you want to say on Jordan Walsh though, Daniel?
Yeah. You said it, Tommy. He had those like 2 months or a month where he was getting consistent minutes, and he was you looked like he finally found a spot on the team. And then I guess something happened in practice or whatever, where I guess Mazzulla saw that Shireman was the way to go, and he wasn't wrong about that. Honestly, Shireman or Hugo might get the case for like the team's very own MRP award after this season, because those are the two guys that I think have progressed immensely. I was also a big not a hater of Hugo, but like I didn't understand the pick when he got picked from Real Madrid and Spain. I was like, what are we doing? Like, there are so many other people who could have picked. Like, I don't know what Brad's cooking, but I'm going to trust the process. And it ended up panning out because we got an amazing player in Hugo. And to pair him up with someone like Shireman, who, again, has also had a lot to prove and has grown exponentially in the past few months. We could talk about those two guys the whole day. And to have those two guys come off the bench and be our defensive statues, I'll say that, defensive leaders. The hustle that they bring to the team is just unheard of. Especially this early in their career. Usually, you think it takes someone longer to develop those aspects that they bring to the game. But on a team like the Celtics, I guess they just found it naturally. You mentioned it yesterday. Hugo, being thrown into this team, not even going to the G League. Being thrown into this rotation off the jump right after getting drafted, and having to prove a lot of people wrong, and having to prove the fans why what Mazzulla saw in him. Why he didn't even get sent to the G League. And he's found a spot, so has Shireman. But it does suck because having these guys find their spot means that players like Walsh, Ron Harper Jr., Mario Williams, Boucher, throw Boucher in there, Garza once Vucevic healthy, you're going to have those guys that you could mention Tillman from last season as well, as one of those guys as well. Just players that, because of the rotation and because of the way that the team was set, they just didn't have a chance to prove themselves in the season. So yeah, as much as we we can say so many good things about the guys that we have now, but it does suck on the to be on the other hand of that flip, where you have on one hand you have these two guys that have been developing phenomenally under Joe Mazzulla, and then on the other hand you have these guys who have been looking for a chance and just don't have it yet. So it does as a fan it sucks because I'd like to see all these guys get chances. But I understand where Missoula's coming from, where, like you said, Andrew, we're nearing playoffs, and it's a time where that rotation has to be cut a little short just to keep that chemistry going on with the guys that are still getting minutes. So it's understandable, but at the same time, I kind of feel bad for the guys that are struggling for minutes.
Yeah, for me, I look at Jordan Walsh, 38th pick in the 2023 NBA draft. You look at those late, second round picks, not late, but second round picks, and a lot of them don't even pan out, And I even saw him in the G League, a lot of the times he had 13 points. I loved watching Jordan Walsh. He was a fun player to watch in the G League, would slam on people's heads and then bump them after with his chest and everything. He was a fun player, but those players, you don't even know if they'll ever pan out. But Walsh, he's shown a lot this year, especially earlier in the season, as Tommy alluded to. There were a lot of good things from Jordan Walsh, and I don't think the door is closed for him, but I just think it's going to come with reps and time. I mean, look at Ron Harper Jr. He's spent years. He's played with Raptors 905. He spent time in Maine last year and played with the Detroit Pistons organizations with the two-way contract. I mean, and what he's sparked into, it takes time to develop these guys, especially second round picks that, you could find a diamond in the rough from. So I don't think it's over with Walsh, but I think, you're going to see his minutes limited this year. You're going to see a little less time, and it's nothing against Walsh. It's just what it is sometimes, Anyone else got anything though before we move on?
Well, I just have a question to pose, and guys like Hugo, guys like Walsh. I mean, do you think that in an expansion draft, say a team goes out and they're like, oh, I really like how Hugo Gonzalez has played on the Celtics. I really like how Walsh has played on the do you think an expansion draft, say they draft those players and then they bring them into their system, are they going to be nearly as effective? Or are they more of or is it more of what the Celtics have done with them rather than what they are as players?
I personally think it's more of what the Celtics have done with them, development, what they're asking them to do when they're on the court, right? We're not asking Jordan Walsh to be an ISO scorer playmaker. We're asking Jordan Walsh to defend as hard as he can, crash the glass every single time on both ends, and hit open shots, slash to the rim, backdoor cuts, dunks, score in transition. So I think why we see a lot of success with these younger players like Hugo and Jordan Walsh, and Shireman has a little bit more experience within the system, is because of kind of what they're asked to do. They're not being asked to, do all of these things that they're not capable of doing, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So I think it's more of a credit to what the Celtics asked them to do. But if an expansion team goes out and looks for adding a guy like Jordan Walsh to kind of be, their 7th, 8th guy off the bench, I think he can be extremely successful in the league.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got, Daniel?
I think the exact same thing. I think it's less about the qualities that these players have and how and how they were able to kind of use that, and more of how Mazzulla and the coaching staff have implemented, their values and what they can do and grow on them, make them even better in order to help the team and also make them better players, of course. But I think it's I mentioned it before. I think last recap, it was the one where I was gonna vote for Mazzulla as the CNR MVP for the night. I said what an amazing coach he is, and I said I spoke about just what he brings to the team. You know, and I said it last recap too. You don't expect a coach to win a championship not even 2 years after coming onto the team, and it just goes to show the level, the what he expects from the team, the level of intensity, and also the defense that it brings. I don't think I've seen this defensive of a team as we have now. I haven't seen this type of team in so long. We've been mentioning defense and rebounding as big things that need to be fixed for the team. And here you are in a season that was supposed to be a developmental year, and we're doing amazing in both of those categories. And I think that goes to show what the level of coaching that Joe Mazzulla brings to this franchise. And so, yeah, to develop those two guys, Ugo and Shireman, into what they are today, I think it deserves the praise. And I think it is definitely more what Mazzulla and the coaching staff has done with them.
And I want to say something about Mazzulla, and this is, I mean, I'm going to keep saying it. This is why he deserves Coach of the Year, because he's able to extract value from players and just feed and let them know exactly what their role is. And now all they have to do is go out and perform. And that's very similar to what you said, Tommy, right? I mean, now I know what my role is when I go on the court. I'm not as confused. I can set my intentions very forward, and I can just focus on that, and that's all. And that's very freeing as a player. But I also will say, I just think, I had something to say, but I lost it. Come back to me.
Oh, that was a part of your take there for a second.
Nope, I lost it.
I hate when that happens.
It's gone.
No, I agree with you, Andrew, though. I think, it's how you utilize them. I think a guy like Ugo, he's so young in his career. So, like, this could be what he is, though. Like, I feel like, but again, at what Joe Mazzulla has asked him. But I want to move on. And if you get that, we'll come back to it, Andrew, we get that. But I want to go on.
Let's hope it's worth coming back to.
I know. Let's see. But switching to the Maine Report really quick, we got the opportunity. We even met up with Daniel. I know, Tommy, what the heck? We were missing you there. But we saw the Maine Celtics clinch a playoff spot, which was such a fun game. And Andrew, you and I got to give our little stories and takeaways for it in a second. But really quick, I want to mention this. They finished 18-18 in the second half of the season. There were some tough games in there, and I have to admit, it's obviously a G League thing, but Tosan Awoma gets a two-way contract, gets called up. You see Tosan Awoma for 5 games, maybe, if that, about a couple of weeks, and then he gets a two-way contract. Keon Johnson was coming back from an injury, and you had guys like Ron Harper Jr. and Amari Williams, who got a lot of run with the Celtics and didn't even spend a lot of that time in Maine for a portion of it. And then you saw Kendall Brown dealing with some injuries. So, I look at this team as a whole. You had guys like Jalen Bridges, who's NBA ready guy. Kendall Brown, NBA ready guy. Hayden Gray, I think he's willing of a two-way. I mean, from how well he played and everything. Keon Johnson, that is an NBA guy. And then Amari Williams and Shulga, you see, they're with the Celtics. I mean, they had to deal with a lot of these guys transitioning up and down or injuries and everything. Obviously, that's the way of the works of the G League, but I think you look a healthy team and all of them together, this team is a lot better than 18-18 show. I'm just saying. I think that's how it is. Right now, the playoff opponent is to be determined. I think there still has to be some games and stuff for seeding. But in addition to that, the Maine Celtics will begin the playoffs on the road, and they will be on the road for the rest of it unless a championship game is brought. If they go to the championship, I feel like they'll have 1 game at Maine and then 2 on the road, if it's the same format from what I remember. But if you guys wanted to add, and I forgot a name in there, when I was on my little rant, John Tonji is another guy who you got later in the season. And, he got that 10-day contract with the Celtics. So he played 2 games in Maine, went up there and then spent a couple. So it's just been a lot of transitioning guys up and down. And I think, the most successful teams are the ones who can consistently keep a group of guys together. I feel like, but do you guys have any comments? We'll start off with you guys first, Tommy or Daniel, and then Andrew. We'll get into the game, and because we'll give our thoughts.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed most of it. It's hard for a team to create a ton of chemistry when you're seeing a lot of guys in and out of the lineup. We've seen Ron Harper Jr. and Mario Williams spend more time with the Boston Celtics over the second half of the season. Obviously, two of their better players early on in the year. A guy I really am interested in from seeing some highlights and some box scores is Hayden Gray.
Yeah.
I think for a guy of his size, he's a great rebounder, can play make really well for others. So I think if they can go into the playoffs healthy with a Keon Johnson, Jalen Bridges, I think they can make some noise, and I think it'll be fun to keep an eye on. But like you already said, it's tough to create that chemistry throughout the course of a season when you have so many new guys coming in and older guys missing a lot of time due to injuries or just time being with Boston. So it'll be interesting, and hopefully they can make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully it can make a run. But I think that this is I think we're setting ourselves up amazingly for the future. I feel like as a Celtics organization, you see, I'm seeing all these guys in the G League on the Maine Celtics, and I'm just thinking, wow, like some of these guys that are signed on two-way deals, even in the next 2-3 years, they're gonna have. I'm assuming they're gonna have breakout season. You have obviously Ron Harper and Shulga and why am I blanking right now?
Amari.
Amari, yes, that's what I was thinking about. But yeah, there's a lot more guys down in that G League team that deserve a chance, and whether it's here or elsewhere, I think we have. I'll say it again, an amazing developmental system, and if need be, where we need one of these guys, on the actual Celtics team, I have a lot of confidence in a lot of these guys coming onto the Celtics, and stepping up, whether it's on a 10-day, whether it's on a 2-way contract. But I just think with this current Maine Celtics team, I have a lot of confidence and trust in the Celtics' future, in the future of the organization, because of the job that we've been doing in terms of drafting the right guys, picking up the right guys and developing them in the right way where they fit into that Celtics team, either immediately like Ugo or Ron Harper, or over time. But I have a lot of trust in this Maine Celtics team, and I love that.
Yeah, Andrew, what were your takeaways for the game we went to? Because again, we're going to be posting a vlog shortly. When maybe before the bobblehead review, so maybe we'll do on a podcast the bobblehead review, because David and I promised that earlier, but they gave us a ticket, so we'll like a voucher for one. So we'll get that bobblehead review. So either we'll post that and then give it on here, or we'll figure it out. But Andrew, what were your takeaways from the game?
I got cool glasses. That's it.
I know.
Nothing else really matters. But I appreciate the Maine Celtics, and no, seriously, that game was really, really, really good. These guys are running the Celtics offense. They had a cut. They're always running those ghost screens. They're always getting flare screens. They're always staying moving. They're always facilitating the ball and really getting everyone involved. And it's just, we keep saying it, that synergy between both programs is very, very impressive. And it's something that a lot of NBA teams should look to emulate. I mean, I think this Maine Celtics are setting the standard of what a G League team looks like and how they operate. And that game to me was exactly it. But from a more of an experience standpoint, going to that game, you walk in right away, you get a bunch of posters. I got the glasses. You got people saying hi to you. Griffin knows a lot of the security guards there and just the people working the game. And so it feels like a community. I was talking to Pam. I believe she bakes the cookies for the Maine Celtics. And she actually said right now the Maine Celtics' favorite cookies at the moment are oatmeal raisin cookies.
Ooh.
The whole staff loves the oatmeal raisins.
So she does a lot with the Sea Dog. She baked me some cookies, and my favorite are the chocolate chip.
Really?
Shout out
Yeah.
Pam.
She said that. She said chocolate chips normally the favorite, but for some reason They love the oatmeal raisin this season.
Can't go wrong with some
So,
oatmeal raisin.
whatever, hey, she's doing pretty well with them, and they're winning games, right? So keep giving them the oatmeal raisin. But yeah, it's just such a family environment at the Maine Celtics. I mean, it really, really is. And I'm not saying that. That's not an understatement. I really mean it. Like, you go in there, it's small, it's community. Everyone will talk to each other. Everyone's shaking each other's hand. Everyone knows someone in there, and that means you know someone, right? So it really, if you're looking for something that has community, you go there, and that's what I felt. You could just feel it in the air. It's always entertaining. Oh, I wish we had a video that some dude with mega chin. He was.
We do. It's gonna be in the vlog.
It's gonna be in the vlog. Check it out. He put a chin on his ladder. I mean, he put a ladder on his chin.
On his ladder.
He put a ladder on his chin and balanced it. I mean, it was insane. I was in shock, and it was just a really fun environment, good time, and just I love it. And they just do such a good job at getting fans involved. Always, I mean, I loved it. It's a really fun time, and I'm just happy I've expanded my horizons, because when it comes down to it, the Celtics, like, oh, I just want to go to a Celtics game, but just watching basketball at that high level, like, it's still super, super high level.
And it's you nailed it, Andrew, and I don't think I could even say anything better, but
Griffin, man. Stop it, dude.
But I gotta say, when you go there, and I think you and Evans alluded to this, but like, no, you said this, Andrew, so I'm giving you credit for your take. Great take. It's the TD Garden shrunken down. I still get chills when I go there.
With a Mainer twist.
Yeah, with a little Mainer twist. And I still get chills when I go there. It's such a fun environment. And, you get to see these guys who this year we were very blessed because, Andrew, when we were talking about interviews, we're like, we could interview the whole roster. Like, all of these guys are just so talented. And have such promising futures, I look across the G League and I seriously think this Maine Celtics team is the most talented. And I wouldn't be shocked because, again, we saw in that 2024 run, I'm going to say it, we brought, that final game in the finals, we did lose, but Brad Stevens sent down to Miaskata and I got to see him play there. It wouldn't shock me, we go to the finals if he sends a guy like Ron Harper Jr. down and lets the whole squad cook. I strongly believe that this Maine Celtics team can go on a run. I strongly believe it. But we will give you guys updates throughout it too, with the Maine Report, and maybe we'll give you guys a little recap if we get far. We did that one against the Swarm that one day, Andrew. Maybe we'll give them some recaps. We'll figure it out. But stay tuned and stay connected for all our main content. But moving on now to a question, Daniel is very favorite of, and I'll give credit to this one because now it seems like it could happen. And we talked about last week, obviously Cade going down with that injury and how the Celtics have been, the Knicks really on our heels. But where do you guys end up seeing the Celtics finish? Do you see them a 2 seed, or do you see them dropping because the Knicks are on their heels, or could get that number 1 seed? What are your guys' thoughts?
I kind of see him sitting right at that 2 seed because obviously the Pistons have been struggling. There has been losses, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I think the Pistons are going to figure it out come later in this season. And I think they're going to find a way to hold on to it. But it's a good question. It's a tough one, honestly. And I think I need comparing the schedules and all that. But honestly, no, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics team goes on a run and continues because of where they are in the season, where Tatum is at. Like we said, he's slowly progressing. They're going to find a way to glue together. And I think the Pistons are trending down. They just lost to the Hawks. So honestly, I'd give it a fairly high chance that the Celtics get this seed. I wouldn't doubt it.
I definitely think it's possible seeing the Celtics move up to that 1 seed. Looking at the Pistons schedule coming up, they have the Pelicans tonight. It is a back-to-back for the Pistons, which obviously everyone knows that second night of a back-to-back is always a tough game to win, no matter who you're playing. And then we kind of look ahead for the Pistons. Then they have the Timberwolves, which we know is a tough game for any team, and then the Thunder. So for me, I want to see the Celtics kind of still hold on to that 2 seed and not slip down to that 3 seed. So I'm more concerned about, the Celtics continuing to win games so they don't have to drop to that 3 seed. Obviously, you want as much home court advantage in the playoffs as possible. However, the Celtics have been a very good team on the road throughout the past few years in the playoffs. We've seen them win Game 6 in Milwaukee back in 2022, I believe that was. And then we were down to 3. We were down 3-2 to the Sixers in, I believe, 23. And we won on the road when Tatum had that huge fourth quarter performance. And then he went on to drop 50 in Game 7. So we've seen the Celtics, come back from being down 3-2 in series when they have had to go on the road and win in a tough environment. So I'm not, too concerned if they don't get the 1 seed and have to, go win a game in Detroit if we see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think, Detroit will hold on to that 1 seed. They've been losing some games, but I think they have enough depth with Duran and, guys off the bench. Jenkins has filled in greatly for Cunningham now that he's been out. So I just want to see Celtics hold on to that 2 seed and out the Knicks jump them in the standings.
You guys already know. At least Griffin definitely knows that there's nothing I'd love more than us taking that first seed, and I think it's definitely possible. We will do it, but I think I've looked at this Pistons team since losing Cade, and although they lost to the Hawks, I think they're still a pretty good team. They have a star like Jalen Duren now leading the team, and he's been playing really good since the loss of Cade. So. Not to say that the Pistons are a worse team now or much worse team without Cade now, but I really do think that we can definitely take that first seed. It would just matter on what kind of a run we go on. Do we go on an early run the next few games or a late one? I think if we go on a kind of a late run, like over the last 5 games, I think then I wouldn't really bank on that. But I think if you're going to run now, I think now is when it starts. We win our next 3 or 4 games, and it's looking much closer, I think, in my opinion, especially after that schedule that Tommy mentioned for the Pistons. But yeah, I think we do need to start paying more attention to the Knicks, because they're climbing too, unfortunately. So as much as I'd like to take the first seed, I think we also need to look behind our back and look in the rearview mirror, because the Pistons and maybe the Cavs, I'm not sure, are catching up. So I would just love to see us, hold that second spot as the most important, but try and go for that first spot, try and go on a run in these next few games, and dominate the league, whoever it is we're playing next, and seal that 1 seed, hopefully.
Yeah, I want to go in more of a route of Tommy. I think, the Celtics, I just want them to maintain that 2 seed. It would be great to get that number 1 seed, but the 2 seed would still be phenomenal. And I just want to maintain it because you see the Knicks are creeping up a little bit. So just got to maintain that and just keep it going. But we're moving into the road ahead. But before we do that, I have to say Red Sox won 3-0. And Andrew, this is an Andrew and I thing. No, come on, Tommy, Yankees fan, get out of here. But I gotta say, Andrew, this is for us. If you guys are like into graphics and stuff, you guys will like this one. But the other day, I was making demo graphics for Chasing the Monster. Go check that out on YouTube and on Instagram. But when I was building them, I did the final template, and it was 3-0. And they won 3-0. Wow. I just have that because that, even going back to the Maine Report, I really should become a lottery man. That's a topic for another time. That's a non-Celtics related podcast.
Griffin's picks.
Yeah, because I quoted it. I was like, Brad Stevens is going to be here. I said either Brad or Missoula was going to be at that game. Brad was at that game. And I was even guessing prices the other day of how much the groceries were going to be. and I got it down to this exact cent. I'm not even lying. Maybe I should go get a lottery ticket, guys. But the road ahead, you know, because
Look
my
at that.
take,
Tommy's picks.
Tommy's
Hit him
picks.
up. We might have to do that. We'll talk about
Yeah, sorry for that, but I know I sent to our group chat last night. But shout out to the Celtics last night for catching me out for once. I had just to let you guys know, I had Derek White 4+ assists, 2+ threes from Hauser. That one was scary early on in the game. He was struggling early, but he got it. Celtics money line. I had a feeling they were gonna have a bounce back game last week on last week's podcast. I kind of predicted that the Grizzlies game was going to be a bit of a trap game, which it was. And then I thought we were going to, lose one to Minnesota and have a bounce back against OKC. And then I had Tatum 8+ rebounds and JB 24+. So, thank you to the Celtics. And that was, just a fun game to watch on top of my bet hitting for, once.
We might need a segment. Martinotti's money line.
Yeah.
I gotta say, you guys, let's see if we get our picks this week, though. The road ahead.
Nice segue, Griffin.
I gotta say, because you got Atlanta coming up. What, Friday? Yeah, Friday. Then you got the Hornets, who they've been a tough team. I gotta say. Then you get ATL again, and then you have the Miami Heat. What do you guys have the Celtics being after this stint? Four-game stint. What do we got the Celtics being?
I'm gonna go and say 3-1. I think we win both of the Atlanta games. I like the way we match up with Atlanta. They have a lot of solid wings with Kuminga, Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Griffin. I know that's one of your favorite role players in the league. He's definitely taken a huge leap this year. I like the way we match up against Atlanta. I think we get both of those games. Charlotte's tough. We saw what happened last time we played Charlotte in TD Garden. They whooped our ass straight up. They've been playing well for the whole second half of the season here. I think they could be a sneaky team that you don't want to run into first round of the playoffs. I think they could, make it tough wherever they play in the first round, whether it be the Pistons, Knicks, or the Celtics. So I'm going to say we beat Charlotte in a close one, and I think we'll probably drop the game to Miami. Miami's always a tough opponent. They've been playing solid basketball throughout the course of the season. So I'm going to say 3-1 this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 3-1 as well, and I think I'm going to go we get the Hornets, and we get the Hornets, one Hawks game, and the Heat game, because I think the Hawks are on a really, really good run right now. They just beat the Pistons. Obviously, they're 4-5 in their last 5 games. I mean, they're playing really, really good basketball.
They're 15-1 in their last 16 games, by the way.
Right, they're even crazier stat, and not to mention, I think playing them twice in a row at times that can be tough. Getting 2 wins against an opponent back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but close enough. And I just think they're going to get the Hornets because last game, like Tommy said, we did get whooped. And I think Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics staff, is going to take this team a lot more serious, and they're going to have a game plan mapped out. And this team is going to be looking for a little vengeance. So I think they'll be able to get this win against the Hornets, and then the Miami Heat. I think we can handle. I think it really comes down to it's more so a mental game. It's like a battle between Mazzulla and Spoelstra, who can play chess better. And I just think we'll be able to get this win. Like if I was a betting man, I'm gonna bet the Heat, and I'm gonna bet the Celtics.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with that Heat game. Honestly, the Heat haven't beat us all season. We've played them 3 times. We're 3-0 against them. Only one close game as well. Which was the most recent one. I think the score was 96-98, if I'm not mistaken. Other than that close one, I guess there have been 2 close ones, but I think we can take care of the Heat.
It's tough, though. I will say it is tough to beat a team.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's true. It doesn't matter how many times we've played them. They are a tough team to beat with Spoelstra and obviously Bam healthy as well, and the rest of the team. They are. I would say they are a threat. But yeah, I think we can take care of them definitely. I think a loss does come against the Hawks. I'll go 3-1 as well. As much as I want to go 4-0 and get that good streak going, but I think since I still want a streak, I see us dropping this next one against the Hawks. Either that or the second one after the Hornets game. So yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. We drop either one of those Hawks one just because of how good of a team they've been recently. They just climbed from 9th to like 5th in like the last 5 or 6 games because of the win streak they've been on. So yeah, I think I see us dropping one of those and then taking care of the Hornets. You know, it's a comeback game for Tatum, for Jaylen Brown, for everyone on the team. And I see us taking care of business. You know, LaMelo Ball is good. Con Knipple is good. They have a good team, and it's going to be exciting to see them in the playoffs this year. But we'll take care of them, definitely. I think it's a bounce back game from last game, and I see us blowing them out, doing a little reverse, you know, because with a coach like Missoula, you don't really like. I don't see us like either losing or it being a close game. You know, he's gonna have a plan for this one, and the team is gonna be better, like you said, Andrew. We're gonna bounce back and I think beat them this time by hopefully as much as they did us, and then we take care of the Heat. So yeah, I still don't know which Hawks game we drop because I don't want it to be this next one, like this first one coming up. So I think I'm gonna say it's the one after the Hornets. So we beat the Hornets, and then it's just gonna suck, like hopefully blowing them out and then losing to the Hawks after. But yeah, I think we lose that second Hawks game and then beat the Heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1 too. So we all got 3-1, right? Right? We got
Yep.
3-1, all of us. I think you beat the Hawks the first game. Hornets, I think you take care of business, get that one done, and then that second Hawks game that you have is, I just think you're bound to lose from how well the Hawks have been playing, and you know I don't see them beating them both games, and then the Heat. You know, Bam's been frustrated with the team. He doesn't want to be a play-in team. They're going to be very aggressive, but I think the Celtics will come up with the win. Anything else you guys got before we close, though?
Man, it sucks doing that because I'm so it's not in my nature, man. I don't want to lose any of these games. So it's tough.
Yeah, no,
Feel like-
it's so hard.
be like, oh, I think they're gonna lose this game. Like, realistically, I don't think they're losing anything. But
No. Well, slam 4-0, Andrew. Slam 4-0. Give us a 4-0. Come on.
4-0 guaranteed.
Now they're gonna go 0-4. Great.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Knicks get the second seed. No, just kidding.
Whoa,
just
kidding,
guys. Wait, no. Knicks bouncing down. I'm telling you what. Celtics getting that number 1 seed. Forget what I said earlier. Celtics getting that number 1 seed. But with that being said, you guys, thank you again for watching another episode, and stay tuned for our vlog as well. But we will see you guys with the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. We will see you with the next one. Peace, you guys.
Subscribe.